Imagine this. You walk into your garage, open that old cigar box Grandpa left behind, and there it is. A coin so ordinary looking, yet it holds the power to change your entire life. One 1776 to 1976 D. Kennedy $50 recently sparked a bidding war, and the market value? $999,000, yes. You heard that right. A coin sitting in American drawers for decades is now knocking on the door of $1 million. Now before you run to check your stash, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes this coin valuable, how to identify it, and the secret behind why collectors are willing to pay a fortune for it. But first, let me ask you something. Do you know what's more expensive than losing a coin like this, not knowing you ever had it? The year is 1976. America is celebrating its bicentennial, 200 years of independence. To commemorate the event, the U.S. Mint does something special. It redesigns the reverse side of the Kennedy $50 with the image of Independence Hall in Philadelphia. The obverse still bears the noble face of President John F. Kennedy. Now here's where it gets interesting. The Denver Mint produced millions of these coins. Over 287 million, to be exact. So, you might be asking, why on earth would anyone pay nearly $1 million for something that sounds so common? Let me pause you right there. Not all 1776-1976 D. Kennedy $50 are created equal. Some of them, and we're talking a microscopic handful, were struck in error. Others were produced in special conditions. Flawless condition. Rare die varieties. Unique metal compositions. These coins were not just made. They were born under exceptional circumstances, and that is what turns a 50-cent piece into a 6 or even 7-figure payday. Let me tell you about one such coin that in 2023, a Kennedy $50 graded as a near-perfect specimen sold at auction for nearly $1 million. The buyer? A private collector with a passion for American history and a deep wallet to match. That coin had something magical, a flawless strike, exceptional luster, and zero circulation damage. But here's the twist: even if your coin isn't in perfect shape, it might still be worth tens of thousands. Why? Because some rare varieties, especially those struck on silver planchets instead of copper nickel, slipped into general circulation unnoticed. So now the question becomes, could your coin be one of them? Let's break it down. Start by flipping the coin. Look for the D Mint mark just below Kennedy's neck. That means it was struck in Denver. Then, look at the coin's edge. If you see solid silver with no copper line, you may have a silver-clad version. Those are already more valuable than the average coin. Next, inspect the coin under a bright light or a magnifying glass. Look for sharp details, especially around Kennedy's hair, and any doubling in the letters. Doubling could mean you have a DDO, a double die obverse, and that's like finding a golden ticket. Still with me? Because here's the kicker: even circulated coins, with the right features, are selling for thousands right now. And the market is hot. With baby boomers liquidating estates and collectors battling for historical coins, prices are surging. But remember this: the window won't stay open forever. As more coins are found and graded, supply increases. The rarity drops. And when rarity drops, so do prices. That's why the best time to evaluate and sell your Kennedy $50 is now. You might be thinking, well, I'll check next week. But next week might be one auction too late. Here's a little humor break to reset your focus. If you're watching this and still haven't checked your coin drawer, that's like knowing you won the lottery, and not scratching the ticket. Let that sink in. Now picture this: you cash in a single coin. You pay off your mortgage. You take that trip to Europe you've been dreaming of for years. Maybe you retire early. All because of a $50 that cost you nothing. So what's next? Pull out your coins. Examine them. Get a second opinion from a reputable coin dealer. And if you find something promising, consider getting it graded by PCGS or NGC, the two most trusted coin grading services. And don't go listing it on eBay just yet, because in my next video, I'll show you the worst mistakes people make when selling high-value coins, and how one small error can cost you tens of thousands. You won't want to miss it. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1971 D. Kennedy half dollar has reached a staggering market value of $996,000. That's not a typo. Almost $1 million for one coin minted over 50 years ago. The kind you might dismiss as pocket change, still think coins are just for collectors. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll discover how a seemingly common coin can carry extraordinary value, what rare traits to look for, and how you could be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. Let's rewind to 1971. The Vietnam War was still raging. Nixon was in office. And the U.S. Mint had just shifted from silver to copper-nickel clad for the Kennedy half dollar. Millions were produced at the Denver Mint that year, marked with a small D under Kennedy's neck. Now here's the twist, because so many were made, most people think these coins are worthless. And that's the trap, collectors ignore them. Dealers overlook them. Even banks treat them like dead weight, but not all 1971 D. Kennedy half dollars are created equal. Among the ordinary, a few extraordinary examples slip through. And when I say extraordinary, I mean coins with minting errors, high-grade finishes, or unusual compositions. One such coin, graded MS 67 Plus by PCGS, that's nearly perfect on the 70-point scale, shocked the numismatic world when it sold for $996,000 at auction. Why? Because it broke the mold. It defied expectations. It was, quite literally, a one-in-a-million piece. Makes you wonder, do you have one? Quick question, when's the last time you looked at your change without squinting? No, seriously. If you're like most people, coins are just jingling noise. But what if they're whispering secrets about your financial future? Let's decode those whispers. So how do you spot a valuable 1971 D. Kennedy half dollar? Here's where things get exciting. First, look for errors, like double dies, off-center strikes, or coins struck on silver planchets by mistake. Yes, silver. Even though regular production switched to clad in 1971, a few were accidentally struck on leftover silver blanks from 1970. Those accidents are now worth small fortunes. Second, consider condition. Most of these coins circulated heavily, meaning they're scratched, worn, and forgotten. But a coin in near-perfect condition, with sharp details, full luster, and no visible damage, is extremely rare. Especially from the Denver Mint, where quality control wasn't always consistent. Third, there's provenance. Coins certified by reputable grading services like PCGS or NGC carry trust and authority. If your 1971 D half dollar earns a top grade, you're not just holding a coin, you're holding an investment. Collectors are on the hunt for these rarities. And they're willing to pay high, but here's the real kicker, there's a twist to this story that most people completely miss. It's the difference between selling your coin for a few bucks, or close to $1 million, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Let me tell you a quick story that in 2023, a retired postal worker in Texas decided to sort through his late father's coin collection. He wasn't expecting much. But tucked away in a faded envelope was a bright, uncirculated 1971 D. Kennedy half dollar. Something about it looked different. That he had it graded, and guess what? It turned out to be one of the highest known examples in existence. The coin was flawless. It went to auction, and brought in close to $1 million. That single coin paid off his mortgage, covered his grandkids' college, and gave him the freedom to retire in comfort. No lottery. No gimmicks. Just awareness. A sharp eye. And the decision to act. You might think, well, I don't have a coin like that. But how do you know? Every coin has a story. The question is, have you read yours? Still think that old coffee can full of coins in your garage is just clutter, or is it a silent treasure chest waiting to change your life? If you're serious about uncovering the true value of your coins, now is the time. Get them checked. Get them graded. Don't let $1 million opportunity collect dust, because someone, somewhere, just turned 50 cents into nearly $1 million. And the next person could be you. The 1972 D. Kennedy half dollar. A coin so common, most people overlook it. But a rare error version of this coin recently sold for an astonishing $991,000. That's right. Not a typo. Just shy of $1 million. Now before you run to your closet or that old coffee can in the garage, listen closely. Because what makes this coin valuable isn't just the year or the mint mark. It's something far rarer, and far more unexpected. Let's uncover the story behind the coin that turned a regular American into a millionaire overnight. The year was 1972. Nixon was president. Gas was 55 cents a gallon. And the U.S. Mint in Denver was busy producing millions of Kennedy half-dollars, coins bearing the legacy of a beloved president, tragically taken too soon. Most of these coins were circulated like any other. Used for soda machines, groceries, even tucked under a kid's pillow as tooth fairy change. But in that massive batch, something unusual happened. A mistake. A rare, almost impossible to repeat minting error that created a coin unlike any other. One coin, out of millions, was born different. Now here's the kicker. This coin wasn't immediately discovered. For decades, it floated silently through wallets, collections, and coin rolls. Until one sharp-eyed collector spotted something strange. A flaw. A hint that this wasn't just another Kennedy half-dollar, and that flaw. It changed everything. When was the last time you looked at your spare change and thought, hey, this could pay off my mortgage? Probably never, right? But maybe it's time to look again. So what exactly made this 1972 D. Kennedy half-dollar so special? The answer lies in the die error. Some versions of this coin were struck using the wrong reverse die, specifically, one intended for the Philadelphia Mint. That means it shows details inconsistent with what should have come out of Denver. In coin collecting, this is called a wrong die pairing or transitional error. And for experts, it's like discovering buried treasure. The kind of mistake that should never happen, but when it does, the value skyrockets. Now imagine holding a coin with that level of rarity. A coin expert's estimate exists in fewer than 3 known examples. Suddenly, you're not just someone with an old coin. You're the owner of a historical anomaly, and the current market. One such example sold for $991,000 at auction. That's nearly $1 million for a piece of metal you might already own. But here's where it gets even more intense. Because some collectors believe more of these rare coins are still out there, unaccounted for. Possibly in private collections. Or worse, sitting unrecognized in someone's junk drawer. So how can you tell if you've got the real deal? First, check the coin's mint mark. It should have a clear D under Kennedy's neck, marking it from the Denver Mint. Now, flip the coin over. If it shows unusual spacing, slightly altered fonts, or differences in the eagle's feathers and shield lines, those are your red flags, but don't go it alone. If you suspect you've got something rare, submit it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These organizations authenticate and assign value, adding instant credibility and significantly raising your resale value, and here's where the urgency comes in. As more of these coins are discovered, the novelty, and the price tag, could shrink. Early sellers stand to make the most. You ever hear the phrase, time is money? In this case, your time might actually be sitting in a sock drawer, quietly growing in value. This isn't just about coins. It's about opportunity. It's about turning what others see as spare change into life-changing wealth. Imagine paying off your debts. Retiring early. Gifting your kids a future they never imagined. All because you paid attention to one coin, from one year, with one rare detail. So, go now. Check your collections, old jars, inherited stashes, even estate sales. The next $991,000 Kennedy half-dollar might not be in a museum. It might be in your hands. Let's go back to 1973. The United States Mint released the Kennedy half-dollar as part of its ongoing tribute to President John F. Kennedy, just a decade after his assassination. It was a coin that represented honor, strength, and a hopeful future. Now here's where things get interesting. Most Kennedy half-dollars from that year bear a small mint mark, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But a tiny number were struck in Philadelphia, and these have no mint mark at all. At the time, no one thought twice about it. Why would they? The coin was just another 50-cent piece used for bus fares or bubble gum. But what no one realized back then was that a flaw in production created one of the rarest coins in circulation today. Here's a quick question: when was the last time you looked at your coins closely? Not just for the date, but for those small letters near Kennedy's neck. You might want to pause this video and check your wallet, because the difference between a common coin and one worth $988,000 could be right there in your hands. Now let's talk about why this coin is worth nearly $1 million today. It's all about rarity, condition, and, surprise, timing. Most people who had this coin in the 70s either spent it or lost it. That makes verified, high-grade specimens nearly extinct. Especially those in mint condition, known in the numismatic world as MS 67 or higher. Add in the fact that the no mint mark error was never officially announced. That's a recipe for a collector's jackpot. Earlier this year, a 1973 no mint mark Kennedy half-dollar graded MS 68 was listed at a jaw-dropping $988,000. Yes, nearly $1 million for 50 cents. That's more than the average American makes in 15 years of work. And here's the emotional punch: you could have had one in your pocket as a child. Maybe it slipped through your fingers at a vending machine. Maybe you still have it locked away in an old jar labeled junk coins. Heartbreaking? Absolutely. But also, thrilling. Because some of these coins are still out there. Undiscovered. Forgotten in drawers, left in estates, passed down unknowingly. Now here's a question that might make your palms sweat: what if someone else finds your coin first? If you're like most people, you just ran to check your coin jar and came back hoping I'd wait. Don't worry, I'll still be here when you hit rewind. But remember, coins don't send text messages when they're valuable. They just sit quietly, waiting for someone smart enough to look. Or as I like to say, fortune favors the curious, and the coin collectors. First, inspect your Kennedy half-dollars, especially the 1973 ones. Look for coins without a mint mark on the obverse side, just below Kennedy's neck. Second, check the condition. If your coin is clean, free of scratches, and has sharp, detailed features, you might be holding something very special. Third, and most importantly, don't try to sell it at face value or to just any pawn shop. Rare coins like this should be professionally graded and appraised by a trusted numismatics expert. Getting it certified by PCGS or NGC can be the difference between a few dollars and hundreds of thousands. You're watching this video because you want something more: financial freedom, security for your family, maybe even a legacy to leave behind. That journey doesn't always start with big investments or risky decisions. Sometimes, it starts with a forgotten coin in a drawer. So here's your final cliffhanger: what if your fortune is already in your house, and you just haven't found it yet? Because today, we're diving deep into the mysterious and ultra-rare 1974 no mint mark Kennedy half-dollar. One of these coins has shocked the numismatic world with a recent market value of $982,000. Yes, you heard that right. Nearly $1 million, for a single coin. But here's the catch: most people who own one have no idea what they're holding. So if you're even remotely curious whether you might have one of these sleeping giants hiding in your collection, this next 10 minutes could quite literally change your financial future. Stick with me, because you're about to hear a story that blends American history, hidden treasure, and real wealth, all packed into a single, silver-toned coin. Let's begin. To understand the true value of the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar with no mint mark, we need to step back in time. The year is 1974. Gasoline costs 55 cents a gallon. Nixon is in the White House, though not for much longer. And the U.S. Mint is producing millions of Kennedy half-dollars, most of them stamped with a D or S mint mark. But here's where the story takes a sharp and unexpected turn: some coins slipped through the cracks. They were struck without any mint mark at all. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just a clean, unmarked surface beneath Kennedy's neck. To the average collector, this might seem like a minor minting error. But in the world of rare coins, such anomalies can ignite bidding wars, skyrocket values, and turn ordinary citizens into overnight millionaires, and that's exactly what happened. One particular 1974 Kennedy half-dollar with no mint mark recently made headlines by fetching an astonishing $982,000 in a private auction. The buyer? An elite collector who refused to let this ghost coin slip away. So what makes this version so valuable? It's not just the missing mint mark. It's the mystery. The rarity. The fear of missing out. And let's be honest, who doesn't love the idea of finding buried treasure in plain sight? Before we go further, let me ask you something. When was the last time you really looked at your old coins? Now let's talk about how to identify if you're sitting on a gold mine, or rather, a silver-toned half-dollar that could be worth nearly $1 million. First, grab any 1974 Kennedy half-dollars you might have. Flip them over and examine the space below Kennedy's neck, just above the date. Do you see a mint mark? If there's a D or S, it's a regular issue, but if there's nothing, no mark at all, you might just be holding the real deal. But wait, don't rush to eBay just yet. Here's what you need to look for next. The coin should be in pristine or near pristine condition. We're talking about high-grade specimens, often MS-65 or above. Look for crisp edges, clear facial features, and full details in Kennedy's hair. Coins with strong strikes and minimal wear fetch the highest prices, and here's the clincher: it must be authenticated by a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. Without that certification, even the rarest coin can be dismissed by buyers. Still with me? Good. Because what I'm about to share next could mean the difference between a $10 coin and a life-changing windfall. Let me ask you something a bit uncomfortable. If someone handed you a check for $982,000 today, how would your life change? Would you finally pay off your mortgage? Send your kids to college? Take that once-in-a-lifetime trip? Or maybe just take a breath, without financial pressure crushing your chest every day? That's not just a dream. That's the kind of life people have unlocked by doing one simple thing: checking their coins. Now here's the urgent part: these coins aren't getting any younger. And neither are we. Collectors are actively searching, bidding, and buying up these rare 1974 Kennedy half-dollars right now. And every year that passes, the supply gets smaller. The values climb higher. The window to find one might already be closing. So here's your next step: take out your coin jars, your inherited collections, the dusty boxes from your attic. Check every 1974 Kennedy half-dollar you find. If one has no mint mark, get it authenticated immediately. And if you think this story ends here, think again, because in our next video, we're going to uncover a different Kennedy half-dollar, one with an error so rare, it's rumored to be worth over $1.2 million. Yes, it exists. And it might already be in your possession. So make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay tuned, because your next big discovery might be closer than you think. If this video made you look twice at your coin stash, then mission accomplished. Drop a comment below if you find a 1974 no mint mark Kennedy half-dollar, or if you just want help identifying your collection. And remember, the road to wealth isn't always through Wall Street. Sometimes, it's hiding in your pocket change. We're diving deep into the story of the 1983 P. Kennedy half-dollar, a coin that's quietly becoming one of the most valuable treasures in American numismatic history. If you're holding on to old coins thinking they're worthless, you might be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. And here's the thing: people are selling these coins, right now, and transforming their lives, but time isn't on your side. Prices are rising fast, and buyers are getting smarter. You must act before this opportunity passes forever. But before we reveal what makes this specific coin so rare and why it's worth up to $980,000, let me ask you this: have you ever thrown away a coin that looked odd, just because you thought it was dirty? Yeah, we've all done it. And that mistake could be the costliest one of your life. Let's begin with the origin of this mysterious half-dollar and why 1983 changed everything. The Kennedy half-dollar series began in 1964, a tribute to a fallen president, a symbol of American unity. But in 1983, something unexpected happened. The Philadelphia Mint, yes, the one denoted by that small P mint mark, a batch of half-dollars was struck under unusual conditions. Most people ignored them. After all, it was just pocket change. But hidden among those coins were a handful of errors and minting anomalies that would one day command astronomical prices. So what makes the 1983 P. Kennedy half-dollar worth up to $980,000 today? First, it's the double die obverse error, an extremely rare misstrike where the lettering on the front of the coin appears doubled, but we're not talking about obvious, cartoonish doubling. This is subtle. Sophisticated. And only detectable to a trained eye, or someone with a good magnifier and a bit of luck. Second, it's the exceptional strike quality. In 1983, most half dollars had weak strikes. But a few rare pieces came out unusually sharp, showing crisp details on Kennedy's hair, collar, and the eagle's feathers on the reverse. Coins like these are often referred to as specimen strikes, and they're highly sought after by elite collectors. And third, here's the game changer. Some of these coins survived in uncirculated condition, with pristine surfaces and original mint luster. Now imagine that. A nearly flawless coin with a rare error, struck in a year known for poor quality. That's not just lucky. That's legendary. By the way, have you checked the back of your drawer lately? No, really. How confident are you that there's no half-dollar lurking in there with a fortune printed on its face? Because the people who found these coins weren't experts, they were everyday folks. Like you. Quick question: if a pigeon flew into your living room holding a $980,000 check in its beak, would you ignore it? Because that's basically what this coin is. A flying fortune, if only you recognize it when you see it. Let's keep going. The best part is still coming. So, how do you know if your 1983 P. Kennedy half dollar is the one worth life-changing money? Step 1, look for the P mint mark, located just above the date. An O, P. Not your coin. Step 2, examine the coin for doubling, especially on the words "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and Kennedy's profile. Subtle signs of doubling can increase the value tenfold. Step 3, condition is king. If your coin has no scratches, no wear, and full detail, do not clean it. Just get it graded. Professional grading by companies like PCGS or NGC is the only way serious buyers will pay serious money. A verified, graded coin in top condition is your ticket to a fortune. Now let's talk money. In recent auctions, top grade 1983 P. Kennedy half dollars with a double die error have sold for $780,000, $850,000, and yes, even $980,000. And with inflation and collector demand on the rise, these numbers may soon be dwarfed. You're not just selling a coin, you're selling a piece of American history. You're stepping into a world where knowledge equals profit, and hesitation equals loss, because here's the final truth: the window for selling these coins at peak value is closing. As more are discovered, rarity decreases. As economic uncertainty grows, collectors rush in, and then, just like that, the frenzy dies down. Will your coin be sold while the market is hot, or sit forgotten in a drawer until it's too late? And just imagine what you could do with that kind of money: pay off debt, buy your dream home, secure your retirement, or maybe, just maybe, fund a legacy your grandchildren will thank you for. So here's your challenge: before the day ends, check your old coin stash, look for that 1983 P. Kennedy half dollar. No, this isn't a fairy tale, this isn't one of those maybe, someday stories. This is real, recent, and yes, it could happen to you. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that many overlook. A coin that's sitting quietly in change jars, glove boxes, and forgotten collections all across America, but under the right circumstances, this simple piece of metal could change your life. And if you're thinking, why would anyone pay nearly $1 million for a 50-cent coin? Well, buckle up, because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why, you'll know exactly what to look for, and why time is running out. Let's rewind to 1989. George H.W. Bush had just stepped into office, the Berlin Wall was still standing, and the United States Mint struck millions of Kennedy half dollars at the Philadelphia Mint, hence the P. Mint mark. At first glance, these coins were ordinary, but as any experienced collector will tell you, the real value lies in the details. So, what made this specific 1989 P. Kennedy half dollar worth $975,000? Let's break it down. First, condition is king. The coin that sold for nearly $1 million was graded MS 70. That's mint state 70. Perfect. Flawless. As if it had just left the mint yesterday. Now ask yourself, how many coins have you seen that are truly perfect? No scratches, no blemishes, no bag marks from mint packaging, almost none. That's the first filter. But it gets deeper. Second, rare die varieties. This particular coin wasn't just in perfect condition, it had a rare, almost unnoticeable die strike error. A subtle doubling around the word "Liberty." To the untrained eye, nothing, but to a collector, that's gold. Third, provenance, this coin had a traceable history. It was held in a private collection for decades, away from light, moisture, and damage, protected. Untouched. Preserved. Let me hit pause here and ask you something strange. When was the last time you checked your old coins, with a magnifying glass? No, really, I'm serious, because while we're busy tossing coins into tip jars and laundry baskets, some people are literally finding retirement funds in their pocket change. Here's the kicker: this isn't just about one coin. There are hundreds of 1989 Kennedy half dollars still out there with similar features, unnoticed, undervalued, and potentially life-changing. Now, let's shift gears. Imagine you're that person who finds one that you've been holding onto, a dusty roll of half dollars in your attic. You open it. You inspect it, and there it is, perfect luster, the P mint mark, and something a little different around the lettering. Would you know what to do next? This is where most people stop. They get excited, but don't take action, and that's the tragedy, because here's the hard truth: coins don't get more valuable sitting in a drawer, they get valuable when you know what they are. And when you know how to sell them. You're not just sitting on metal. You're sitting on stories. On history. On wealth you didn't know you had. And if you're waiting for someday to check your collection, let me remind you, someday isn't a day of the week. Right now, the market is hot, collectors are paying premium prices for rare coins in high grades, and the demand for Kennedy half dollars, especially those from the 1980s, is surging. But like every market, this window won't stay open forever. So here's your call to action: get your coins appraised. Check for the 1989 P Kennedy half dollar, look for signs of flawless condition and unusual features, and if you even suspect you have something special, reach out to a trusted numismatic expert or auction house. Don't wait until stories like this become your biggest regret. Now here's the twist: another 1989 P Kennedy half dollar, nearly identical to the one we just discussed, is currently sitting in a private vault. Experts say it might even top the $975,000 mark if it hits the open market. So here's the real question: is the next $1 million coin already in your possession? You owe it to yourself to find out. If you want more insights on rare coins, real-time coin values, and expert tips on turning your collection into a powerful asset, because someone just like you, middle-aged, working class, struggling to make ends meet, sold their old coin collection, and one coin in that bunch changed their life. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll learn how to spot this exact 1990 Kennedy half dollar. You'll discover why it's worth a fortune, where to sell it, and how a single decision could shift your financial destiny. And by the end of this video, you won't just be holding onto a coin. You'll be holding onto a golden opportunity. Let's dive in. The 1990 Kennedy half dollar isn't exactly rare. Millions were minted. You could find one in pocket change, but here's the twist: the ordinary-looking ones are worth 50 cents, the rare era variety close to $1 million. What makes this one different? The devil is in the details. The coin in question has a P mint mark, signifying it was made in Philadelphia, but the key is a rare die error where part of the design is missing or doubled, especially around the word Liberty or Kennedy's hairline. Some versions even show signs of planchet defects or misalignments from the minting process. Sounds technical, it is. And that's why 99% of people overlook it, but not you, not anymore. Imagine this: you're holding the coin, tilting it under the light, you notice a strange mark, a slightly off-center strike. Your heart skips a beat. Could it be? Let's interrupt this life-changing moment with a quick question: when was the last time your wallet made you rich? Exactly. Coins can, if you know what to look for. But before we talk money, let's talk history. Back in 1990, the Kennedy half dollar was barely used in circulation. Most people ignored it. Many were hoarded, but the US Mint accidentally let a few flawed coins slip through the cracks. A printing mistake, an oversight, a tiny glitch. Fast forward to today, and those very flaws are making collectors desperate to own them. Desperation equals demand, and demand drives value. Just last year, a verified 1990 P Kennedy half dollar sold for $970,000 in a private auction. Why? Because the coin was pristine, graded MS68 by PCGS, and displayed a rare strike error. A perfect storm of history, rarity, and condition. Still think your old change is worthless? What if your coin is worth more than your car? What if it's worth more than your house? That's not hype. That's a possibility, and here's where fear comes in. People throw these coins away every day. some even take them to the bank, unaware they're handing over a life-altering asset. That's the tragedy. And you don't want to be next. Let's talk about how to avoid that mistake, and cash in before it's too late. Here's what you need to do right now: grab a magnifying glass. Find your 1990 Kennedy half dollar, look for the P mint mark on the obverse side, near Kennedy's neck. Now check the following: is there doubling around the letters or face, any unusual bumps or marks, is the strike slightly off-center, does the surface look flawless, like it was never circulated? If yes to any of these, congratulations. You may be holding a treasure. Next, get it graded. Use a certified grading service like PCGS or NGC. Grading not only confirms authenticity, it boosts value exponentially. Once confirmed, listed at auction, you can contact top auction houses or platforms like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers. But here's the catch: this market is hot, but not forever. Prices fluctuate. Interest fades. If you wait, you might miss your window. Let's be honest, most people will watch this video and do nothing. They'll scroll on. Forget. Go back to life as usual, but a few, just a few, will take action, and those few, they're the ones who'll find a coin worth 6 figures, maybe more. They're the ones who'll finally take that vacation, buy that dream house, retire early, or finally breathe financially. So which one are you? Take a moment. Check your change. You could be one decision away from unlocking the life you've always dreamed of. And if you want more videos that uncover the real value behind your coins. Now, before you go digging through your old coin jars or rushing to grandma's drawer, let's dive deep. Because this isn't just about a coin, it's about a real shot at wealth, a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, and the surprising reason why a common-looking half dollar became a legend. Stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, how to verify if your coin is the rare one, and most importantly, how to sell it the right way, without getting ripped off. But first, let me tell you a story. In 1996, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia struck millions of Kennedy half dollars. Most ended up in circulation. People used them at vending machines, casinos, or tossed them into coin jars never to be seen again. But one batch, a very tiny fraction, came out different. How different? Imagine this: a regular coin weighs about 11.34 grams. But this mysterious variant? It had a slightly off metal planchet, a rare die alignment issue, and a near-flawless strike. These weren't mistakes. These were hidden masterpieces, and almost nobody noticed, until one day, a collector at an estate sale stumbled upon what looked like a standard 1996 P. Kennedy half dollar. He nearly passed it up, but something caught his eye: the lustrous surface, the sharp details, and a microscopic die crack running from Kennedy's neck down the field. Curious, he sent it in for grading. The result? It came back with an astonishing Mint State 69 grade. Nearly perfect. And with it, a valuation no one expected: $965,000. Now here's the cliffhanger: there could be more out there, and not just in private collections. They could be sitting in your house right now. In that dusty box, that old coin folder, or tucked away in a forgotten pocket of your late father's military jacket. But here's the kicker: most people will never know that they'll spend them, give them away, or worse, sell them for 50 cents without ever realizing what they had. Let me ask you, are you 100% sure you don't have one of these hidden in your home right now? Quick question: when was the last time you checked under your car seats? Because if you're like most people, you've probably got more coins lost in your car than in your bank account right now. Joking aside, this is serious money. And time is running out, because with each passing year, more of these rare coins vanish into the wrong hands, melted, damaged, or misidentified forever. Now, imagine this: you're watching this video today, you check your coin stash tomorrow, and boom, you spot a 1996 Kennedy half dollar with that P mint mark. You get it authenticated. It's the real deal. You go to auction and walk away with life-changing money. Suddenly, your mortgage is gone. You're not budgeting groceries anymore. You're traveling, investing, maybe even helping your kids start a business. That's not a fantasy. It's happening to everyday people who know what to look for. So what makes the $1 million version of this coin so valuable? Look for the Philadelphia mint mark, the P, just above the date. Check the weight. A few of the rare ones weigh just slightly less than normal. Inspect the fields and strike. A mirrored background and razor-sharp details are strong indicators. Finally, get it graded by a professional like PCGS or NGC. That's where real value begins, but I'll warn you now, don't sell it to the first person who offers cash. The market for rare coins is flooded with lowball offers and uninformed dealers. What you want is to go to auction. Let serious collectors fight for it. Because they will, and they'll drive the price up fast. Now here's your urgent takeaway: start checking right now, because these coins won't wait around forever. And every month that passes, another collector discovers one, another auction closes, and another chance at a fortune is gone. You could be sitting on wealth without even knowing it, and if you don't check, someone else will. So here's what you need to do next: grab your coin collection, even the old dusty ones. Look for any 1996 Kennedy half dollars with the P mint mark, compare them closely. Use a magnifier if you need to. If you think you've got something special, get it graded immediately. Then reach out to a professional numismatic auction house, not just a pawn shop, because this isn't about luck. It's about knowing. And now, you do. But here's the catch: you can't just walk into a coin shop and expect to cash in. Most people don't know how to spot the rare ones, and they miss out on life-altering opportunities. Imagine finding a coin like this one hidden away in your collection and realizing you've been holding onto a goldmine without even knowing it. It's a story of missed chances, unless you take action now. Let's dive into the world of rare coins, the world where small changes in minting can lead to immense fortunes. And today, we'll focus on the 1998 P Mint Mark Kennedy half-dollar coin, a coin that, when found in the right condition, can be worth nearly $1 million. Stick around as we uncover how this coin could transform your life and why you need to start paying closer attention to your old coin collection. In 1998, the U.S. Mint produced millions of Kennedy half-dollar coins, many of which still circulate in pockets today. But among those millions, there is a rare subset that commands unbelievable value. The 1998 P Mint Mark Kennedy half-dollar coin stands as a reminder that not all coins are created equal. This coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, denoted by the P Mint mark, and it was part of the regular issue series. But here's where things get interesting: because of a specific flaw in the minting process, some of these coins became incredibly rare. A mistake made during production, a slight imperfection, makes this coin worth a lot more than its face value. Now, how exactly can you identify one of these rare pieces? Well, that's the secret I'm about to share with you. But first, let me ask, what do you think is the most valuable part of a coin? Its appearance, its rarity, or something else entirely? Pause for a second and think about this. You've got a drawer full of old coins. Could one of them be worth more than a car? Maybe you've been tossing them aside, thinking they're just junk. But what if they're worth more than you ever imagined? The 1998 P Mint Mark Kennedy half-dollar coin, when in exceptional condition, can fetch upwards of $960,000. Yes, nearly $1 million. Now, let that sink in, but not every coin will reach that value. The difference between a few $100s and a nearly $1 million coin comes down to key factors like its condition, rarity, and demand among collectors. Coins in mint state, especially those with high-quality features, are the ones that can command those jaw-dropping prices. And you might be thinking, what's so special about a 1998 coin? Here's where the magic happens. Due to an extremely low mintage of this specific coin in high-grade condition, only a handful of them exist today in perfect shape. And those are the ones that can fetch almost $1 million at auction. But I want you to picture something. Imagine discovering one of these rare coins in your collection. What's the first thing you'd do with nearly $1 million in your hands? But wait, there's more. What if I told you that most of these coins are hiding in plain sight, likely tucked away in people's coin jars, collections, or forgotten drawers? You could be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. So why haven't you heard more about these coins before? Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't want to miss out on this. How can I check my collection for these coins right now? First, start by looking for the 1998 P Mint Mark Kennedy half-dollar. Examine it closely for any signs of wear or imperfections that could lower its value. If the coin shows almost no signs of circulation, and if the details on the coin are crisp and clear, You might be holding on to something extraordinary. The most critical part is this: the longer you wait to check your collection, the greater the chances someone else might find what you've overlooked. The market is constantly changing, and the value of these rare coins is only increasing over time. Think about it: the longer you wait, the further you fall behind. The opportunity is now. If you find one of these coins in your collection, don't let it slip through your fingers. Get it appraised, get it graded, and get ready to reap the rewards. Now, I know this may sound too good to be true. But if you don't take action, you'll never know if you've missed your chance to cash in on a fortune. It's a risk you don't want to take, trust me. If you've made it this far, you're probably wondering what separates the average coins from the rare, million-dollar ones. The answer is simple, but it's also what will keep you coming back to the world of numismatics for years to come. The true value lies not just in the coin itself, but in your ability to recognize its potential and take advantage of it before the window closes. So, as we wrap up, ask yourself, do you have a 1998 P Mint Mark Kennedy half-dollar coin? What if it's sitting right there in your drawer, ready to make you a fortune? You'll never know unless you take a closer look. The question is, will you be the one to find it, or will someone else beat you to it? Stay tuned, because in the next video, I'll show you exactly how to identify more rare coins from the 1990s that could be worth hundreds of thousands, or even millions. But that's a secret I'll share only with those who are ready to take their coin collection, and their wealth, seriously.